Joining me now, the host of the Chris Plaint Show on WMAL from Washington, D.C., of course, Chris Plaint, and returning and staying with us throughout, Republican campaign strategist, Fox News contributor Tony Sayegh, and Washington Times columnist, Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Now, Tammy, your reaction to what was I thought, a very comfortable setting for the candidate who actually seemed to enjoy the interaction.
This is his bailiwick. They said he should be preparing for the debate on Sunday. This was his prep. He was doing a very good job. This is what he naturally enjoys, talking with people, unlike his opponent. We saw also a kind of strategy when it came to the questions that are asked. One of my biggest issues with the first debate was he seemed to feel compelled to answer in detail, into the weeds, the questions that were asked. Here it was really much more broad-based response, sticking with his narrative, how he's approaching the issues, depending on whatever the question was. That will serve him well on Sunday. He was comfortable. He handled things appropriately. I was very impressed, and I think Sunday's going to be a good night for him.
Chris Plaint, let me bring you in here. What your thoughts on his performance here tonight?
Well, I certainly hope he does carry over the sort of the attitude and the relaxed approach and the temperament, to use the word that no doubt the news media will use. He did say that he was not looking at this as debate prep, and he said, forget debate prep. Now, I hope he doesn't mean that completely. I hope that he will indulge in some debate prep to get ready for Sunday night, because it's huge. I mean, look, this is the World Series, and every day is another big game for Donald Trump from here to Election Day, and he needs to continue to win people over. And Sunday night's debate is very, very important for him. He needs to get a big win on Sunday night, and you know that there are going to be efforts to trip him up and try and get that one soundbite that will become the news media narrative for the following 5 days, and he needs to be really sharp and ready, like Mike Pence was night before last when he shows up on Sunday night.
Tony, I sensed on his part, Donald Trump was more relaxed. He was self-effacing. I loved his comment when asked about his fondness of polls, particularly when he's doing well in them. He likes to talk about them, and he readily admitted that when they're not going his way, he could care less.
Yeah. Well, you saw the best of both Donald Trump versions tonight. Stylistically, he was very at ease. He was funny, using humor, self-deprecating. But substance, Lou, is what really struck me, if you want my honest opinion, because Kellyanne Conway earlier in the broadcast did say they feel very strongly they're on strong ground on the issues. He very elegantly navigated through issues, got into some depth, got into some statistics. Yeah. He loves talking about jobs in the economy and trade. These are things he absolutely relishes in. And when he talks to people about these issues, not just kind of antiseptic politicians and moderators, he comes alive in a way he needs to continue to do. And if we get this on Sunday, I think you're going to see a lot of happy people at Trump Tower.
There is if you will, a Mar-a-Lago demeanor that he can adopt. We saw it during the primaries. We have not seen it in the general election, where he is self-effacing, where he brings his splendid sense of humor and a casualness to the conversation. The one thing that it seemed, at least in the first debate, to think he had to be serious. You're talking about temperament. Temperament hell. The guy is the central figure in this drama now. He may not prevail. I think he will. But the fact is, he is the central figure. He represents change. He knows that. He doesn't have to defer to anybody. He's the guy in the moment.
He is. Now, in this room, though, of course, keep in mind, it was completely friendly moderator, Republicans and supporters. So Sunday, he's going to have a woman next to him whose sole job is to provoke him. He's going to need to actually ignore her as much as he can, know what his mission is, and move forward. Tonight, I have to disagree a little bit. There were a couple opportunities where...
Who are you disagreeing with, Tammy?
Tony. Not
You're
you.
it, Tony.
Not you.
Shocker.
Just in that, when the fellow asked about getting the job after his college education in chemistry, how Mr. Trump is going to change that man's life, and he will do it, but with lower taxes, fewer regulations on business, and that lifts everybody up with whatever job they want. Those kinds of remarks will be helpful for people to know that he really does, his plans are there. We know that they will assist. And then for Sunday, ignoring the nature of perhaps two hostile moderators and Hillary Clinton to get his message across.
Chris, your thoughts?
Oh, I think Tammy hit on a number of very important things there. This was a very friendly environment. Sunday night is not going to be a friendly environment. Anderson Cooper and Martha Raddatz and Hillary Clinton. So,
oh boy.
Some of the best television this year was Martha Raddatz going after Governor Pence, and he just kept swatting her away. Her left-wing bias in fabulous display, and his resolve, which we saw a lot of in the debate with Senator Kaine, was there. By the way, these folks can't handle Donald Trump when Donald Trump wants to play hard.
Yeah.
I happen to disagree, if I may, with both of you. I think Donald Trump has to be a happy warrior if he's going to be a warrior.
Right.
In his most casual and informal, self-effacing, and commanding way, these moderators, frankly, should be nothing more than cannon fodder for whatever fusillade he wants to launch.
But Lou, honestly, I think his challenge is not to be aggressive on Sunday night. We know that he's perfectly capable of that. He needs to be charming. He needs to...
Happy warrior, partner. That's what I just said.
I mean, yeah, he just needs to be likable and charming and calm and able to ignore all of the Hillary attacks and the questions that will invariably be designed to ensnare him. And he needs to brush by them, be prepared, as Mike Pence was, have answers at the ready that are quotable the next day, that don't get him in trouble.
Well, listen, Hillary Clinton is preparing to be likable. This is the reports we're getting. This is what she's practicing in debate prep. So you better watch out.
Won't work. Look, what's the over-under on her being likable?
She was told to smile a lot. Clearly, she was able to do that. Look, here's where I have to slightly, again, disagree with my colleagues. I work for Jack Kemp. I would love to hear...
Tammy and Tony are not getting along.
I would love to hear the rising tide lifts all boats speech that we've been hearing from Reagan and Kemp. But this is where Trump, I think, actually excels, is when he talks directly to people in language not used by politicians. Where I think he can redirect slightly is to make his answers more about the particular person. Bill Clinton used to do that very effectively in these town hall forums.
Great point.